Admittedly, I didn't play many horror games this generation.
Admittedly, not a lot came out.
Also true. But one I did play, and one that I did very much enjoy, was Supermassive Games' Until Dawn, a Telltale-style game that is essentially a slasher film in Telltale style. And I know you didn't play it.
No, I did. I played it at your house to see if I would buy it.
You didn't even have PlayStation 4, so you couldn't have bought it in the first place because it's an exclusive.
Well, no. I told you this. I was like, I told you this. This is the reason why I kept going to your house to play stuff. Mm-hmm. I need a reason to buy a PS4.
Gotcha.
Which, I also, can I be totally honest? I forgot Until Dawn came out.
But Josh, I brought him to my house. We played the first 2 chapters in which nothing happens, so it didn't leave that much of that great an impression on him.
I know. So it can't really be my fault that I'm mean. I tried it. It's a cool idea. It's very cool because anything you do has actual real-life choices, and unlike Life is Strange, these choices actually do kind of matter. Mm-hmm. Unlike most Telltale games and games of that like, other than maybe 3 of them. Until Dawn, how many endings in Until Dawn there were? There was a ridiculous amount.
A lot. I mean, there's
almost 20?
Any combination of any of the characters staying alive or dying is an ending, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, I would say, spoilers for both Until Dawn and their follow-up, The Dark Pictures' Man of Medan. Man of Medan ain't that great. Compared to Until Dawn. It's just... So again, spoilers. Do you care if I spoil Until Dawn for you?
Go for it.
So, Until Dawn ends up being Wendigos, which is really cool because I actually really like the mythological creature, the Wendigo. So it was nice to see that in a horror game. In Man of Medan, it's a ghost ship, but then you find out it's not actually a ghost ship. It's just hallucinogenic chemical weapons, and it's like, wow, that's way less interesting than actual Wendigos. I didn't like Man of Medan.
I forgot that game even came out. Isn't the new one coming out in a couple months?
I think it's coming out this month, Little Hope.
I didn't see that. What's another good one? Another one. Resident Evil 7. A game made and published by Capcom Entertainment. It turns the now famous horror series. They tried to bring it back to its roots to be horror, but they switched the gimmick. So instead of what it was originally fixed camera angle for third person, then third person shooter, is now first person shooter. And the game, kind of a mess, if I'm going to be totally honest, is basically, if you're a fan of the 3 movies of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Saw, and the crappy live-action Resident Evil movies, then you will absolutely adore Resident Evil 7 because it's literally, the plot progresses like that. As you are, oh my goodness, Ethan Baker, and you get trapped. No, you're not Ethan Baker. The Baker is the family.
Yeah. It is Ethan, though.
It's Ethan.
I don't know what his last name is.
Oh my goodness, what is his last name? All right, you are Ethan. You need to find your wife, Mia, as she is captured by the Baker family, and you basically get trapped by all these weirdos who are all mutants. There's no zombies in the game.
Just blobs.
Yeah, they're blobs called the Moss.
The Moss? That's what they're called?
Yeah, they're called the Moss, which...
Kind of a lame name.
No, it's kind of cool when you think about it, right? Because they're just creatures that if there's moss on the wall and it's oozing down, they can come out of whenever.
Okay,
so it's it's like an amoeba, right? But... No, Resident Evil 7 is a great game. There's a lot of DLC to it that's actually really good and really fun, including one DLC where you play as a member of the Baker family and you punch mutant crocodiles with your bare fists. There's no guns. It's man-on-man action. It's great. There's one where it's just blackjack.
Like the card game?
Yeah, it's like a card game. Because in the Resident Evil 7 demo, there was it was a different story altogether. It was about this reality TV show.
Right.
Yeah, and the cameraman Clancy gets kidnapped by the Baker family. That's how it ends. That's how the demo ends. But they made DLC to show what happened to Clancy, and there's one where it's basically he puts one hand in like a 5-finger trap, and he plays blackjack, and you have to win to keep your fingers.
Huh. That's fun.
It's very fun, very quirky. But honestly, for the first couple hours, it's genuinely scary because you're just kind of trapped alone in a house with this crazy dude.
Always a good time.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Resident Evil 7 because another one I really enjoyed, Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2 was very good.
I admit I'm not, I was never big on Resident Evil. I didn't play a Resident Evil game until this generation with the remaster of the remake of the original game.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. Wasn't nothing too, I wasn't thoroughly impressed with it. But then when Resident Evil 2 remake came out, everything clicked into place. I'm like, oh my God, I totally get why people dig these games now.
Yeah.
It is one of the best times I've had in a horror game. It's properly scary, which, you know, it's a horror game. You kind of need it to be scary.
Yeah.
Gameplay is fun. And the story is really intriguing too, because this is still when Umbrella is kind of an underground thing, both literally and figuratively in this case.
Yeah.
And when you're just unearthing this mystery, it's really cool. It's such a cool story, Josh.
And it has the right amount of camp, right?
Yes.
Which I do think they dialed back a little bit too much for RE2 when it comes to campiness. But that's fine, right? Because they still had Tofu as a playable character, right? There's still enough campiness to enjoy. I do think that they kind of used Mr. X, this giant impeding zombie who basically follows you throughout the whole game. In the original, he would only follow you through
In one of the scenarios, right?
Yeah, in one of the scenarios on like a higher difficulty, right? So you'd already know what to do, but they kind of just bring him in like the Kool-Aid Man, and he kind of just never leaves. He's like borrowing free rent. That's like the only negative, but it's such a small negative because he himself gives so much tension.
He does.
One of our friends can agree to this. I was in the library in the Raccoon City, because it takes place in Raccoon City PD, and I was trying to figure out on the library how to be like, okay, oh, he can't climb up ladders. Oh, no, he can. So I have to figure out how to get to the door while this dude has the same exact momentum that I can do, only just slower. So it's very high tension.
And the sound design. My God, those footsteps.
Oh my, I think a lot of people don't really talk about sound designs, but Capcom has been hitting it with audio design recently with the binaural sound effects that they've been doing with the Resi games to a literal music progression in DMC5. Have you seen this?
No.
They made it so they have a system, right? Because in Devil May Cry 5, this is a total aside, but they have this progression, right? Where if you do cooler combos, you get a higher rank. They now created an automated system where if they make like a 9 to 10 minute song, they can bake it so that every single rank starts an instrument of the song.
Oh,
so D
that's
rank
cool.
You just hear it for Devil Trigger. For D rank you hear like just the drum beat like a synth. But when you get the triple S, you get like a bass boosted version of Devil Trigger playing, and like it increases through like rank. Capcom has been hitting it with audio design recently, and like that's it. That like. I know I'm maybe a little biased because I enjoy Capcom games, but like technological feats like that, Killer Instinct also did something like that, where the song, when you did an ultra combo, the song would be in time to your punches. They remixed it to be like that, so like any song on anything, like the song would continue playing for a combo. Yeah. I love audio design like that. Total aside.
We need more of that in games. We need more. We're talking to you, games industry.
Another good game, which I'm pretty sure we both never finished, but it was still incredibly scary.
I didn't know where you're going with this.
White Knight.
Never mind.
Do you remember this?
I do. I remember we played like 2 hours of it.
No, well, I mean, we got to we went through the first third of the game. The game is so short.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The game is like this murder noir, where you're this 1940s Boston or something like that. It's some old decade in Boston. Where you are investigating this murder. The game is like a noir, but like they flip the color scheme. So you are white, right? Fully white. The rest of the world is dark.
Josh, the correct word is Caucasian.
Caucasioids, mestizos. And you use light to like pave the way. But here's the thing, you can't see what's in front of you unless there's light, which leads to a lot of horrifying ordeals that me and Dave could not deal with.
Yeah.
If It's a very short game, but we only got through a third of it, and I'm pretty sure we spent like at least a good afternoon playing it.
I never went back to it. It was too scary.
It was way too scary. I got to I think chapter 3 out of 6. And what ended me was I lit a match and there was a ghost. Now you can't see the ghosts because it's really dark. So the only way to actually fully see a ghost is if you get the light source on in that area, and that's the puzzle for each area. But so I lit a match and I ran into the only room that was unlocked, and it was the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, what puzzle's here? So I look out the window and I see the moon. So I'm like, okay, natural moonlight, they can't come in. So I see another door. I look in the door, and I see an answer to a puzzle to another door. And I'm like, whoa. Then all of a sudden, a ghost literally just walks and puts its face in the door frame. And then like the character just yeets himself back. And I was just like, good night, everyone. I ain't playing this anymore. The sad thing about the game, though, it's been delisted.
Oh, that's a shame.
Because I didn't know this, but it was published by Activision, and Activision's like, whatever. And I don't know if it's on PC. I don't know where you can get this game, but it's severely underrated.
Yeah.
And it's great.
One of these days I'll finish it.
One of these days. One of these days we'll finally be big boys and finish it.
Just like one of these days I'll actually finish Alien Isolation.
You know,
which is another game me and Josh played that was too scary.
It was kind of scary until I realized, wait a second, this Alien's AI is BS. Alien Isolation is a game published by Sega. Do you know the developer offhand?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I'll just put in slap a big thing of these guys made it. They essentially made is it an official sequel to Aliens?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it follows
Alien. It doesn't do anything with aliens.
Got it. It basically follows Ripley's daughter. Mm-hmm. I forget her name. Amanda Ripley. That doesn't sound right. I think I got something wrong there. But we're rolling. Basically, she goes and investigates her. I'm trying to remember the plot, but the game is so long. She investigates her mom's
disappearance after the events of the film Alien.
Yeah, which lands her on this one ship where, guess what? There's an alien.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought in the game Alien Isolation there is, in fact, stay with me now, hold on, an alien. Now, now the game is now, I like it. I've grown more on it. I've grown very much more on it. Because Dave, I originally hated it. Mm-hmm. I did not like any single part of it. I thought the alien basically has these ways to find you. So if you're very loud or you run around, he can find you. If you're quiet, he won't. I just had to find a way to get used to it because it's hard. It's hard, and the game is over 20 hours long, like 15 to 20.
And the gameplay itself is also very slow.
Yeah, the gameplay is very slow. You look at a level and you Google online, how do I do this level? It's 10 minutes, and you go, 10 minutes? And then you look, it's because he's running and going through every shortcut. If you play the game as you're supposed to and sneak around, levels take like a half hour. Mm-hmm. It's a very long, slow-driven game, but the alien's very scary. Everyone else, there's also robots and humans, they aren't scary at all.
The AI on human enemies especially is...
Yeah, very bad, very bad. I walked into a room, and then I immediately crouched, and I hid behind a box. And then one guy said, and this is like a very long hall, like there's literally no way he can see me. I was in pitch blackness. Some guy goes, I think I saw someone over there. And they walked to where I was behind the box, and I'm just kind of crouched staring. I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to walk left. Why are you here? And they just stayed there. They didn't move.
That sounds about right.
They didn't move. So, which now comes to the best part about the game is the versatility, which if there's a human, what I would usually do is I would shoot my revolver. This would cause the alien to appear. But guess what? He's not going to find me. He's going to find the 5 dudes that are walking around the hallway instead who are trying to hunt me down. It's great. Like, the amount of versatility you can do in that game is insane.
It is. And I haven't, sucked it up enough to try this mode, but there is the mode where you can connect your microphone. And the sounds that are surrounding you can have the potential to attract the alien. Again, I'm not man enough to try that mode, but the fact that they included it is very cool.
Dude, how funny would it be if you get caught by the alien because you farted? like you're just sitting there like.
You think that's you think that's happened to anyone in the Alien universe?
Dude, I constantly think about like, dude, how funny would it be in a horror movie, like an actual serious, not campy horror movie, where someone accidentally passes gas and they get caught by the tube. All right, and our final game is, we just want to point out, the Amnesia Collection was published by Frictional Games. It basically is a collection of 3 Amnesia titles. 1, Amnesia: The Dark Descent. The DLC for it, Amnesia Justine? I don't know. And Amnesia: A War... No.
A Machine for
A
Pigs.
Machine for Pigs. I was on a War on Pigs. And the third game, Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs. That's my plan this month. I'm going to beat Dark Descent and A Machine for Pigs. But both games are classic, even though one's basically a walking simulator. Dark Descent is a classic horror game. One of the first horror games I was aware of this decade, and probably the biggest one. One of the bigger ones this decade.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about the popularity of that game from like 2010 to 2013, that game was the number one horror game, right? It's unbelievable. And honestly, Dark Descent it's still very scary. You're basically this guy with amnesia, in the game Amnesia, and you're basically trapped in a castle, and you have to figure out, well, what is going on? And there's a sanity meter, because he's just alone in a dark castle. There's 2 health bars, a sanity meter, and your health. The health, if you go down, obviously you die in most games. But your sanity, you can start seeing monsters that aren't supposed to spawn. You can start seeing treasures that aren't there. So you have to stay in the light constantly, another theme of horror games, and not be in the dark or not see very scary things like the monster itself. And it's so fun because there's no combat. Because usually in a game, a horror game, you need combat, which then, if you take the Silent Hill approach and make it bad, adds tension. But if you make it very clean and easy to fight something, then, they're not scary anymore. So if you take all the weapons away and all you can do is just hide or put a box or stand on a box, it's inherently scarier. I haven't finished... I don't know much about Machine for Pigs. I've only played like the first 5 chapters.
I haven't played any Machine for Pigs, honestly.
I've played the first 5 chapters, and it's literally a walking sim so far. And I've put in about an hour and a half into the game. It's really a walking sim. All right. So I think, is that all the horror games? Or do you have another one?
I think I've covered what I wanted to.
Okay, so now we can just talk general about.
Unless we talk about our favorite game of all time, Outlast.
Next segment. We're not talking about that. Nope.